Here we have a SAT math problem. Okay, let's go to the question. In triangle ABC, angle A equals to 90B, angle B equals to 53A, and angle C equals to 37A, where A and B are constants. Which of the following is true? Okay, here we have the three angles of the triangle ABC. There is 90B, 53A, and 37A. Since these are the angles of a triangle, they must add up to 180 degrees. That is 90B, the first angle. The second angle 53A, the third angle 37A. So the three angles of a triangle must add up to 180. 90B, when I combine this 53A and 37A, I am getting 90A equals to 180. Okay, here each term is a multiple of 90. So we can divide all the terms of this equation by 90 to make the number smaller. Let me do it. Then this 90 will cancel, 90 will cancel, 90 goes into 90 one times and 90 goes into 180 two times. Then I'm getting B positive A equals to 2. Or the same equation can be written as A positive B equals to 2. Okay, here there is no restriction given for the values of A and B. So we can guess any value for A and any value for B such that A positive B equals to 2. For example, if I guess A equals to 1, then B must be 1. So that when I add the values of A and B, 1 and 1, it is equal to 2. And for example, if I guess A equals to 0.5, then B must be 1.5. So that when I add this 0.5 and 1.5, that is equal to 2. That is A positive B equals to 2. Okay, now let's go to the question. Okay, according to the given information, which of the following is true? That is, in the given answer choices, we have to find the one which is true. For example, let me consider the stuff in answer choice A. Okay, if I want to say the statement that is cosine C less than sin B in answer choice A is true, it has to be true for all pairs of values of A and B we take such that A positive B equals to 2. That is, when I take A equals to 1 and B equals to 1, it has to be true. When I take A equals to 0.5, B equals to 1.5, it has to be true. Or even when I take some other pairs of values of A and B such that A positive B equals to 2, it has to be true so that we can conclude answer choice A is true. In case answer choice A is not true for one particular case, for example, when A equals to 1 and B equals to 1, for this particular pair of values of A and B, if statement A is not true, then we have to conclude it is not true, then we have to go and check the other answer choice. Okay, anyways, now let me take the first pair of values of A and B, that is A equals to 1 and B equals to 1. Okay, when A equals to 1, then the first angle, this one will become what? So when A is equal to 1 and B is equal to 1, that is we have to plug in lowercase b. We have to plug in 1 for this lowercase b. Then 90 times 1 is 90. The first angle becomes 90. And when A is equal, the lowercase a equals to 1, then this 53A will become just 53. This 37A will become just 37. Then we get the second angle 53 and the third angle 37. Okay, here when I add the second angle and third angle, that is capital B positive capital C equals to 53 positive 37. When I add them, I am getting 90. So probably these two angles of B and C are complementary because I add up to 90. Okay, whenever two angles are complementary, then the trigonometric ratio sine of the first angle and the trigonometric ratio cosine of the second angle must be equal. Or even we can say the trigonometric ratio of cosine of this angle and the trigonometric ratio sine of this angle must be equal. So when two angles are complementary, so the trigonometric ratio sine of this angle sine B and cosine of this angle, that is cosine C, must be equal. Okay, for this particular case, that is when A equals to 1 and B equals to 1, we get the result sine B equals to cosine C. But here in answer choice A, we have cosine C less than sine B. That means cosine C and sine B are not equal. So for this particular case, when A equals to 1 and B equals to 1, so the statement we have in answer choice A is not true. Since it's not true for one particular case, we have to conclude this is not true. For the same reason, we can reject answer choice C as well. Because here we got the result sin B equals to cosine C. That is cosine C equals to sin B. But here cosine C is greater than sin B. That is they are not equal. So for this particular case, A equals to 1 and B equals to 1, the statement we have in answer choice C is not true. Okay, here for this particular case, A equals to 1 and B equals to 1, cosine C equals to sin B, the same stuff we have over here. So can I decide that B is true? No, I cannot decide that B is true, because only for this particular case, A equals to 1 and B equals to 1, the statement we have an answer choice B is true. As I said earlier, if I want to decide this one is true, it has to be true for all pairs of values of A and B, not for one particular case like this one, A equals 1 and B equals 1. So we have to check with the other pairs of values. For example, let's consider this one when A equals to 0.5 and B equals to 1.5, whether this one is true or not. And also we have to consider some other pairs of values also. For all pairs of values of A and B, it has to be true so that we can conclude it is true finally. Okay, let me take this particular pair of values for A and B. Okay, now let me plug in 0.5 for this lowercase a and 1.5 for this lowercase b over here, and here to get the three angles of the triangle. Okay, then we get A equals to 90 times. For this b, we have to plug in 1.5. Okay, let me do it. And capital B equals to 53 times. For this lowercase a, we have to plug in 0.5. Let me do it. And capital C equals to 37 times 0.5. Okay, then we get A equals to, when I multiply this 90 by 1.5, I am getting 135. And capital B equals to, when I multiply this 53 times 0.5, I am getting 26.5. And capital C equals to, when I multiply this 37 by 0.5, I am getting 18.5. Okay, now I got the three angles of the triangle 135, 26.5 and 18.5. Actually, it is an obtuse angle. Okay, now what we can do is we can add the two acute angles 26.5, 18.5. That is, let's add B and C. Let me do it over here. B positive C equals to 26.5 positive 18.5. Okay, when I add them, I am getting 45 degrees. Okay, so here apart from the obtuse angle 135, when I add the remaining two acute angles, they add up to 45. Clearly, the angle measures of B and C are not complementary because they do not add up to 90 degrees, they add up to 45 degrees. Since the angles of B and C are not complementary, the trigonometric ratio sine of the angle B, the trigonometric ratio cosine of angle C cannot be equal. So for this particular case, that is when A equals to 0.5 and B equals to 1.5, the value of cosine C and the value of sine B cannot be equal because B and C are not complementary. So for this particular case, the statement we have an answer choice B is not true. Since this is not true for one particular case, that is A equals to 0.5 and B equals to 1.5, we have to conclude this one is not true. Now we are left with only one answer choice, that is D. Okay, now let's go over the information. We have an answer choice D. Not enough information given to provide a relationship between cosine C and sine B. So this is true because with the given information, we are not able to decide whether cosine C is less than sine B or cosine C is greater than sine B or cosine C and sine B are equal. So we don't have enough information to decide the relationship between cosine C and sine B. So this is true. So the correct answer choice for this question is D.